I stand in front of the fridge when I hear the shout, "Don't even think about touching that food. My husband's family is coming over for dinner." I freeze, still holding the package of fresh cheese. I turn to see my daughter Sarah standing in the kitchen doorway, her arms crossed, her eyes stern, her lips pressed into a thin line I don't recognize. I had just filled that fridge only a few hours earlier. I spent nearly $200 of my own money. I carry the heavy bags from the car to the kitchen at 69 years old, my knees creaking every time I climb the stairs, and my back aching each morning when I wake up. But I don't mention any of that. I only stare at her, waiting for her to explain, to tell me it's a joke, to laugh and hug me like she used to when she was a child. But she does not. If my wife said it, that's how it would be. The voice comes from the hallway. It's Daniel, my son-in-law, the man my daughter chose to share her life with. Tall, always well-dressed, with a smile that never reaches his eyes. He walks over and places his hand on Sarah's shoulder, a possessive gesture, as if marking his space. I still hold the cheese in my hand. "Mom, you heard right. I need you not to touch anything in the fridge. Nothing. My in-laws are arriving in 2 hours and I can't serve them just anything. This matters to me." Her in-laws, her husband's family, more important than me, more important than the woman who gave birth to her, who fed her as a baby, who stayed awake countless nights when she had a fever, who sold her own jewelry to pay for her college. "I understand, honey." That's all I say. Because in that moment something inside me breaks. It's not a loud rupture, no noise or shouting. It's silent, like a dry branch snapping. A faint crack, but final. I put the cheese back in the fridge. I close the door slowly. I wipe my hands on my apron and smile. I smile because at that moment I realize something important. I realize that my daughter no longer sees me as her mother. She now considers me an obstacle, someone unnecessary, someone they want to get rid of. And I smile because I have made a decision. If they are going to treat me this way, I will make my own choices too. I head toward my room, enjoy my dinner, and walk to the stairs. I feel their eyes on my back, but I do not turn around. I climb each step calmly with my back straight. I lift my chin high, even though my insides are trembling. When I reach my bedroom, I close the door behind me. I sit on the edge of the bed, the same bed where I slept with my husband for 30 years. The bed where I cried when he passed away 10 years ago. The bed where I stayed alone, all alone, until Sarah convinced me to come and live with her. "This is your home too, Mom. You will always have a place here with us," she said 2 years ago, when I sold my small house to help pay the deposit on this one. When I invested all my money into this house, believing it was meant for both of us, for the family, for us to share a home, it was all a lie. It was false from the start. I get up and walk to the window. From here I can see the garden, the roses I planted myself, the small lemon tree I added when I moved in, and the pots of herbs I tend to every morning. I did all of this with my own hands, with my effort. Downstairs I hear voices and laughter, music playing, the doorbell ringing. The in-laws have arrived. I hear Sarah greet them with that sweet voice she no longer uses with me. I hear Daniel offering them drinks. I can hear the clatter of plates and the sound of glasses. I'm upstairs in my room, feeling like a child who has been punished as if I did something wrong, but my only mistake was buying the food they are now enjoying. I sit in my chair by the window, the one I brought from my old house, the only piece of furniture Sarah allowed me to keep. We sold or gave away everything else because, according to her, this house has its own style and my old belongings don't match. I take my phone from my pocket and look at it for a moment. I consider calling my sister Emily to tell her what happened. But what could I say? That my own daughter has forbidden me from eating in my own home. It sounds so absurd. It would seem like I'm overreacting, like I'm just an emotional old woman looking for attention. I put the phone back and sit there, staring out the window as the sky darkens. Hours go by. I hear when the in-laws leave. I hear when Sarah and Daniel go upstairs. I hear everything quiet down. Then I carefully get up, trying not to make a sound. The house is dark except for the small light over the stove. I walk into the kitchen. I notice the dirty dishes piled up in the sink, the glasses with leftover wine, the food scraps on the table. My food, the one I bought and paid for, yet have not tasted a single bite. I open the fridge, searching for something to eat, but nearly everything is gone. They have eaten almost all of it. Only a few leftovers remain in plastic containers. I pick one. It's cold rice. I eat it standing in front of the open fridge, the light shining on my tired face. As I eat the cold rice, I realize something else. I see that this pattern isn't new. It has been happening gradually so slowly that I didn't notice at first. It's like water heating up slowly, and the frog doesn't jump because it doesn't feel the danger until it's too late. The small slights, the comments, the glances, all part of a plan to push me into a corner, to make me feel like an outsider, like a burden, as if I should be grateful to have a roof over my head. But that roof is mine, too. I invested $49,995 to purchase it, all my savings, everything my husband and I had saved over the years. I handed the money to Sarah because I trusted her, because she is my daughter. I believed she would look after me, just as I looked after her. I close the fridge, wash out the empty container, and put it away. I wipe away any signs that I was there, like a ghost, like someone who has no right to be in her own home. I return to my room. I lie down, but sleep eludes me. All night my mind keeps racing. I try to remember, to piece things together. The past 6 months have felt odd. Sarah asked me to sign papers that were supposedly from the bank, renewals, forms, dull documents I didn't fully understand. I signed them because I trusted her, because she is my daughter. Now I question what I signed exactly. What were those documents? Why did Sarah push so hard? Why was there always a hurry? Why couldn't I read them carefully? Before dawn, I get up quietly and leave my room. I go into the living room and look at the desk where Sarah keeps important papers. It's locked, and I check the usual spots for the key but don't find it. Then I go to my room and take out my box of personal documents. I search for the original deed to the house, the paper that proves I invested my money here and that the house is my property. It's not there. The deed isn't where I left it. I check every paper and folder, but nothing. It's gone. And in that moment I realize, I know with complete certainty, they have stolen from me. My own daughter took from me. Not just my dignity or peace, but also my money, my future, my security. I sit on the floor of my room surrounded by scattered papers. I don't cry, I don't scream, I don't make a scene. I understand that tears won't bring anything back. That shouting will only make me seem like a crazy old woman. No one would believe me if I started accusing without evidence. So, I decide on something else. I choose to be clever, to investigate, and to retrieve what belongs to me, all quietly, without drawing attention or warning her that I've uncovered her betrayal. I put all my papers back in order. I wash my face, I comb my hair, I dress as I do on any normal day. When Sarah comes down for breakfast, I'm already in the kitchen making coffee. "Good morning, Mom." "Good morning, honey." "Did you sleep well?" "Yes, very well. Thank you." She smiles, the perfect smile, as if nothing has happened, as if she didn't humiliate me the night before or steal everything from me. And I smile too, because now I understand how to play her game, the game of silence, patience, and waiting for the right moment to act. I pour her coffee. I prepare her favorite breakfast. I ask about her plans for the day. I behave like the perfect mother, like the obedient woman she expects me to be. At 09:16, I was already planning and thinking about each step, each move to recover my life, my home, and my dignity. Over my 69 years, I've learned that revenge is best served cold, very cold. I have all the time I need to prepare it. There are moments when you wonder exactly when everything began to change. At 09:40, I ask myself, when did the person you loved become a stranger? I replay that question many times in the days that follow, and I always reach the same conclusion. It all started much earlier than I was willing to admit. Sarah was born when I was 26. The pregnancy was difficult. I had to stay in bed for the last 4 months. My husband, Michael, works double shifts at the factory to support us since I couldn't work. We are young, full of dreams and plans. When she arrived, everything seemed to fall into place. She's a lovely little girl with large, dark eyes and a smile that brightens any room. I treat her gently, as if she were made of glass. I feed her, give her baths, and sing lullabies to her. My mother taught me how to do these things. Michael loves her very much. He comes home tired from work, but always finds the strength to play with her and make her smile. I remember the day she took her first steps. I was in the kitchen preparing dinner when she clung to the edge of the sofa and pushed herself forward. She took 3 unsteady steps before falling onto her bottom. Still, she did it, and I felt overwhelmed with happiness and tears. I called Michael at his job to share the news. He left early that day just to see her walk again. We felt so happy. We don't have a lot of money. We live in a small 2-bedroom apartment. Our furniture's old and the carpet is worn. but this is our home and that is enough. When Sarah turns 5, she will start kindergarten. To help with expenses, I took a part-time job at a bakery. Michael stays at the factory working hard. We do our best, save what we can, and stay hopeful. We hope to buy a house someday and to give Sarah everything we never had. She's a good student, gets good grades, takes part in school plays, and has friends. She seems like a normal, happy child. Or so I believed. Because now, looking back, I notice things I didn't see before. Small details I overlooked because I didn't want to admit there might be problems. For example, when she was 8, I asked her to share her toys with the neighbor's daughter. She refused, hiding all her toys in her room and locking the door. I thought it was just a typical phase, a selfish stage many children go through. I spoke to her about the importance of sharing. She nodded but never actually shared her things. Or when she was 12 and found a $100 bill I had hidden in a drawer for emergencies. She asked if she could buy a dress she saw at the store. I told her no, that money was reserved for something important. She got upset, stopped talking to me for 3 days, and when she finally spoke again, it was as if nothing had happened, but the money disappeared. I could never find it, and she never mentioned it. I was supposed to notice it then. I should have paid closer attention. But I was so busy working, so exhausted at the end of each day, so focused on just getting by that I missed the warning signs. Michael died when Sarah was 19. He had a massive heart attack at work. He collapsed in the middle of his shift. By the time he reached the hospital, it was already too late. I received the call at 3 Horgaos in the afternoon. That day divided my life into 2 parts, before and after. A world with Michael and a world without him. Sarah didn't cry at the funeral. That surprised me. She was serious, quiet, but dry-eyed. No tears. I asked if she was okay. She said yes, that she was just processing everything and that she would cry later. Yet I never saw her cry for her father. The following years were difficult. Michael's life insurance was modest, enough to cover the funeral and leave some savings. I kept working at the bakery, but I also started cleaning houses on weekends. I needed the money for Sarah's college. She wants to study business administration. It's an expensive degree, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I sell Michael's tools, I sell his car, I sell some jewelry I had saved up to pay her tuition, buy her books, and provide her with money for transportation and food. I eat less. I wear the same clothes for years. I avoid buying anything unnecessary. Everything I do is for her. Everything. During college, Sarah comes home only when she needs money. She calls and says she has unexpected expenses, that she needs to pay for a project, or there's a special fee. I give her whatever she asks for, without questioning or doubting, because she's my daughter. Because I believe I am investing in her future. She graduates with honors. I am at the ceremony, feeling proud, excited, and crying with happiness. It was worth it. All the sacrifices were justified. Or so I think. She quickly gets a job at a large company with a good salary. She now tells me she will look after me, that it is her turn to care for me, and that everything I did for her will be returned tenfold. I believe her because I want to believe her, because I need to feel that my sacrifices have meant something. Months go by and nothing changes. She continues asking for money for a course, for a work trip, for professional clothes, and I keep giving because that is who I am. That is who I have always been. The person who gives, the person who sacrifices, the person who puts others before herself. She meets Daniel at work. She introduces him to me 6 months after they start dating. He is polite, well-dressed, comes from a wealthy family, works at the same place as her, and seems like a good man, and I am happy for her. I think she has finally found someone who will make her happy. They marry the following year with a large wedding in an elegant hall, attended by over 200 guests. I contribute my share, $15,000 from my savings. Sarah says this is the least she can do, noting that the groom's family is contributing much more. She insists she can't appear to be at a disadvantage, and so I cover the costs, even though those $15,000 represent many years of hard work and sacrifices. At the wedding, she barely notices me. She's occupied with her in-laws, important guests, and her own schedule. She exchanges a few words with me, introduces me as her mother, then quickly moves on, acting as if I'm just an obligation or a formality. In the first months of their marriage, they live in a small apartment. I visit on Sundays. I bring food, do some cleaning, and help out where I can, but I always feel like an outsider, as if my presence is unwanted or intrusive. Later, they start talking about buying a house. Daniel wants a larger place in a better neighborhood, but they don't have enough for the down payment. They need $50,000. They turn to me and ask, "Mom, you have savings, right? Could you lend us the money for the house? We'd pay you back a little at a time with interest if you want, and you could live with us. You wouldn't have to be alone anymore. It would be perfect. A family again." That's what Sarah says, and I want to believe her. I want to believe she's including me in her life, that she's giving me a place in her home, that she finally values me. I sell my house, the small house Michael and I bought after years of saving, the house where we raised Sarah and were happy. I sell it and give her all the money, the full $50,000. She promises to put my name on the deed, to make the house ours both, that I'll have my room, my space, and that I'll always be welcome. And I sign everything they present because I trust. Because she's my daughter. But now I realize that was my mistake. That was the moment I lost everything. The point where I stopped owning my own life and became an unwelcome guest in what should have been my home. The first few months in the new house are bearable. Sarah still manages to keep up appearances. She greets me in the mornings, includes me in some conversations, allows me to cook and participate in household decisions, but something feels wrong. I can't quite put my finger on it. There's a quiet tension that seems to hang in the air every time I walk into a room. Daniel often works late, comes home exhausted, and retreats to his study. Sarah spends hours scrolling on her phone. I fill my hours with cleaning, cooking, tending the garden, trying to be helpful, trying to justify my place in this house that I also consider mine, even though it feels less so with each passing day. One day, as I tidy up the dining area, I notice some papers on the table. Bank documents. I see them accidentally while I'm cleaning. I don't intend to pry into anyone's private affairs, but my eyes catch my name on one page and I stop to look. It's a document related to the house mortgage. I quickly scan it, trying to make sense of the figures and legal language I don't fully understand. The only thing I know for certain is that my name isn't listed as the owner on the title deed. It only appears as a reference. As someone who provided money but was not listed as an owner, a cold shiver runs down my spine. I pick up the paper with trembling hands. I read it again, more slowly, searching for my name among the owners, but it's not there. Only Sarah Johnson and Daniel Reyes are listed, no one else. I hear footsteps on the stairs. Quickly, I put the paper down and continue cleaning. Sarah enters the living room. She looks at me with that expression she started using, an uneasy blend of annoyance and superiority. "What are you doing, Mom?" she asks. "Cleaning, honey." "Just cleaning." She takes the papers from the table and leaves without another word. I stand there with the rag in my hand, my heart pounding, filled with 1,000 questions. That night, I can't sleep. I keep turning over what I saw. Maybe I misunderstood. Perhaps my name is on other documents. On the original deed, Sarah promised to include me, saying the house would be for both of us. She wouldn't lie to me. She couldn't lie to me, but the doubt takes root. Like a weed, it begins to grow, spreading and poisoning every thought. In the following days, I start paying closer attention, noticing things I had previously ignored, such as the time Sarah asked me to sign papers without giving me a chance to read them. She says they're bank documents, renewals, boring forms that don't need reviewing. I trust her and sign because she's my daughter. But now those signatures haunt me. What exactly did I sign? What were those papers? Why always so hurried? Why couldn't I take my time to read? One afternoon, while Sarah's at work, I search through the desk in the living room. I need to find the house deed. I want to see my name on it. I need to confirm everything is fine, that I'm just imagining things, but the desk is locked. I look for the key in obvious spots, the kitchen drawer, the bookshelf, the entryway shelf. No luck. The key isn't there. I try to open the lock with a paper clip, a hairpin, but nothing works. The desk remains locked, hiding its secrets and keeping them away from me. At 2027, I remember I have my own copy of the documents. When I sold my house, I kept everything in a special box: important papers, my marriage certificate with Michael, his death certificate, receipts for payments, and supposedly the deed to this house, proving I invested my money here. I go upstairs to my room and pull the box out from under the bed. My hands tremble as I open it. At 2050, I go through all the papers carefully. I check every document, folder, and envelope. The deed isn't there. It's simply gone from where I left it. Instead, there's a receipt, Proof that I transferred $50,000 to Sarah's account, but nothing that shows I own the house. At 2112, I sit on the floor among the scattered papers, trying to remember the last time I saw that deed. Where did I put it? Who else has access to my room? Then it hits me. Sarah has a key to my room. I gave her access myself so she could clean when I was away, or use the bathroom if hers was busy. I never imagined she would use it to steal from me, but now it's clear. She came in. She searched through my belongings. She took the only document that protected me and either destroyed it or hid it, or whatever she did with it. I put everything back in the box, closed it, and hid it in a different spot at the back of my closet, behind old boxes where no one would think to look. Later that night, Sarah came home late from work. She carried a shopping bag from a high-end store, full of new clothes, shoes, and other items worth hundreds of dollars. I watched her unpack everything in her room, removing the tags, trying on clothes in front of the mirror, looking happy and carefree, and I thought about my $50,000. That money represents years of my life, years of working hard, making sacrifices, waking up early, staying up late, eating little to save more, not buying anything for myself, living on the minimum. All I want is security, something of my own, not to be a burden to anyone. Now, that money covers her expensive clothes, her comfortable lifestyle, her large house, while I have nothing but a room they can take away any time. Just a small spot at the table where I feel less welcomed each day. I go to the kitchen to make tea. I need to calm my nerves. I need to think clearly. I turn on the stove to boil water. I pick up my favorite mug, the one I brought from my old house, a simple white ceramic cup with hand-painted flowers. Michael gave it to me on our first anniversary. As I wait for the water to boil, Daniel comes into the kitchen. He looks at me in that way. He's begun to treat me as if I'm in his way, as if my presence annoys him. Linda, I need to talk to you. I turn toward him, waiting for him to speak further. Sarah and I have been thinking, this house is expensive to keep up. The utilities, the taxes, all the costs keep going up. And so, you live here but don't contribute anything. You eat our food, you use our electricity, our water, everything costs us. His words hit me hard, like a bucket of cold water poured over me. I had just spent $200 on filling the fridge. I do all the cleaning, cooking, gardening, and everything I can to avoid being a burden. Yet, I don't say any of that. I just wait quietly, letting him finish. We believe it would be fair if you paid something, just a small monthly rent of $500 to help cover expenses. It's the least we can ask. In this neighborhood, even a room costs twice that much. So, $500 for living in the house I helped buy, the house where I've invested my money, the house that should also be mine. Sure, Daniel, I'll think about it. But there's not much to consider, Linda. The payment starts next month. Sarah will give you all the details. He pours himself a glass of water. He drinks slowly, watching me as if expecting me to say something, to protest or to refuse. But I remain silent, holding my empty mug. When he leaves, I turn off the stove. I no longer want tea. I don't want anything. I just want to go to my room, lock the door, and process everything that's happening. I climb the stairs, each step feeling heavier than the last. I enter my room, close the door, and sit on my bed. For the first time in a long while, I allow the tears to come. I cry quietly, hiding my face in my hands, my body trembling. I cry for my naivety, for my foolishness, for trusting so blindly, for giving everything without protection, for believing that a mother's love was enough, but eventually the tears run out. In their place, something else emerges. Something cold, something firm, something I didn't realize I had inside. Rage. But not the hot rage that makes you shout. It's the cold rage that makes you think, the anger that quietly plans, patiently waits, and strikes at just the right moment. I get up and wash my face. I look into the mirror. I see a woman of 69, tired, with wrinkles, gray hair, but with sharp eyes and a strong will. I am not going to sit idly. I won't allow them to take everything from me like this. I refuse to be treated as worthless. I've given too much. I've sacrificed too much, and now it's time to reclaim what is rightfully mine. The days that follow feel strange. I continue to do everything as I always did. I wake early, prepare breakfast, clean the house, tend to the garden. But inside, something has shifted. I no longer perform these tasks with love. Instead, I do them with purpose. Every move is deliberate, every word carefully chosen, every smile seems fake. Sarah doesn't notice, or perhaps doesn't care. She continues her life as before with her work, her outings, her shopping. She treats me as if I am furniture, there, but not worth her attention. And I let her believe that because it suits me, because I need her to lower her guard. I start paying closer attention to everything around me. Their schedules, routines, when they leave and come back, where they hide important things, and what they talk about when they think I'm not listening. One morning, while cleaning the living room, I find Sarah's phone on the couch. She must have forgotten it when rushing out to work. I glance at it for a moment. I know her passcode, having seen her enter it countless times. 4 simple numbers, her wedding date. I pick up the phone, unlock it. My hands tremble, but my mind remains steady. I begin reading her messages. I search through conversations with Daniel, her friends, and her in-laws. I read quickly, making mental notes of everything. There is a chat with her friend Samantha, recent messages. My heart races as I read them. I'm nearly finished getting my mother's name off the deed. The lawyer says it will all be finalized in 2 weeks. Finally, I'm able to sell this house and buy something better without her claiming any rights. The words hit me hard, like punches. I read the message repeatedly, trying to understand what I'm seeing. She didn't just remove me from the deed. She's planning to sell the house I helped buy, and buy another where I have no rights. I keep reading. There are more messages from weeks ago. My mom is so naive. She signs everything I put in front of her without reading. Now just one more document to sign and it's all done. Problem solved. Or so she thinks. To her, I am the problem, her own mother. The woman who gave birth to her, who raised her, who sacrificed her entire life for her, is just a problem to be resolved. I take photos of all the messages with my phone. My hands tremble so much that some photos turn out blurry, but I take several shots of each. I need proof. I must document everything. There's another chat with someone named Leonard Torres, a name I don't recognize. I open the conversation. Mrs. Johnson, as I mentioned last week, we have processed the documents you brought. Your mother signed the waiver of rights concerning the property. Everything is in order. The only remaining step is for her to sign one final paper, and then the process will be complete. You are welcome to visit the office any time. A lawyer. She consulted a lawyer, she forged documents, made me sign away my rights, and I didn't even realize it at the time. I remember the lawyer's name, his phone number, the address of his office from the chat, every detail, every word. I keep reviewing everything. There are photos, scanned copies of documents, copies of papers I signed without thoroughly reading, contracts, waivers, assignments of rights, all stored on her phone like trophies of her betrayal. I take photos of each item carefully, making sure they are clear and that every word is legible. These are priceless. This is what I need to prove what has been done to me. I hear a car in the driveway and my heart stops. I glance out the window. It's the neighbor. I continue checking my phone. I have little time. I don't know when Sarah will come back. I find a folder labeled Mom Documents. I open it. Inside there are copies of my ID, my birth certificate, the deed to my old house, and receipts for money transfers. Everything they might need to steal from me is there, organized and filed like a criminal record. Then I notice something else. A recent document, a quote for a new house in a different neighborhood. Bigger and more expensive, dated last week. They are already planning to move and leave me on the street. I take pictures of everything, then delete the call and message history to hide that I accessed her phone. I put everything back exactly as I found it, in the same position and angle. I go to my room, close the door, and sit on the bed. I connect my phone to my old computer, the one I brought from my previous house, and transfer all the photos. I save them in a hidden folder and make copies on a USB drive I had stored away. I cannot afford to lose this evidence. While transferring the files, I keep thinking about everything I saw. About how my own daughter planned to destroy me with such coldness and precision, as if I were just an obstacle in her way, something to be removed so she could move ahead. I finish saving all the data and hide the USB in a safe spot, inside a box of tampons in my bathroom. No one will suspect it there, especially Daniel. I go down to the kitchen, put water on to boil, and prepare some tea. My hands no longer tremble. My mind feels strangely calm. Now I understand exactly who I am up against. I see how deep the deception runs, and that gives me strength because knowing is power. And now I possess both. That afternoon, when Sarah comes home from work, she's upset and searching desperately for something. "Mom, have you seen my phone?" she asks. No, honey, I reply. Where did you leave it? She wonders. I don't know. I had it this morning, but I can't find it. I help her search. We check the living room, the kitchen, and her bedroom. I act concerned and supportive, just as the perfect mother she still believes I am. Here it is. It's hidden between the couch cushions. She picks it up with relief. She quickly checks her messages and calls. Everything appears normal. She suspects nothing. Why would she? I am just her naive mother, the silly old lady who signs whatever is handed to her. Thanks, Mom. You're welcome, honey. She goes to her room. I remain in the living room, watching the sky darken through the window, but I no longer feel lost or victimized. Now I know exactly what steps to take. Over the next few days, I begin my investigation. I search online for the lawyer Leonard Torres. I find his website. His office is only half an hour away. I read about his services related to real estate, estates, and contracts, just what Sarah plans to steal from me. I also look into my legal rights, what I can do if someone tricked me into signing documents through deception. I read legal articles, visit forums, and review testimonies from others in similar situations. I take notes, save links, and prepare my questions. One afternoon, while Sarah and Daniel are at work, I go to the bank. It's the same bank where we arranged the mortgage for our house. I ask to speak with an officer. A young woman about 30 years old comes to help me with a friendly smile. Good morning, ma'am. How can I assist you? She asks. I explain that I need information about a property. I am a co-owner, but I don't have copies of the relevant documents. I want to know how I can obtain them. She requests my ID, which I provide. She types on her computer and looks surprised. Mrs. Thompson, according to our records, you do not appear as the owner of any property. That can't be true. I show her a transfer receipt for a $50,000 payment I made toward the house's down payment. She reviews the document, entering information into her system. I see the transfer here, but it was made to Sarah Johnson's name, not as part of a co-ownership agreement. It appears to be a gift, a donation. So I have no rights over the property. Her words confirm my worst fears. They deceived me from the very beginning. There was never any intention to include me on the title. It was all a scheme to take my money. Is there anything I can do? You should speak with a lawyer, ma'am. We only handle the financial matters, but if you sign documents that waive your rights, it will be difficult to recover anything. I thank her and leave the bank. I walk over to a bench in a nearby park. I sit down and breathe deeply. The cool air fills my lungs and clears my mind. Now I'm certain of three things. First, they have stolen from me legally. Second, I have evidence of their conspiracy. Third, I need to find a lawyer, one who is skilled and not on Sarah's side. I take out my phone and search for lawyers who specialize in family fraud. I find several options. I read reviews, compare prices, and note their contact numbers. I will call tomorrow because I am no longer alone in this. Now I have information, proof, and a plan. I walk home slowly, carefully considering each step and movement. Sarah and Daniel are not yet home. The house feels empty and quiet, like a stage waiting for the performance to begin, and I am prepared, ready to act and to reclaim what is mine. I am ready to show them they underestimated the wrong person. The following day, I wait until Sarah and Daniel leave for work. I dress with care, choosing my best outfit, a simple yet neat dress. I comb my hair and apply light makeup. I want to look respectful and trustworthy, someone who deserves to be believed. I grab my purse. I pack all the evidence I have collected, the printed photographs, the receipts, the USB containing everything from Sarah's phone, all organized neatly in a folder. I leave the house and walk to the bus stop. The trip downtown takes 40 minutes. Throughout the ride, I gaze out the window, watching the streets, the buildings, and blurred figures of people going about their day. As I watch, I reflect on how my life has come to this point. At 36 Ains, I share how I went from owning my own house to begging for justice. The lawyer's office I visited is in an old building. I climb the staircase to the third floor, my knees protesting with each step. I keep going because this matters, to shape my future. I knock on the door, and a secretary greets me. I explain that I need an urgent legal consultation. She asks me to wait in a small room. There are old magazines on a table and inexpensive pictures hanging on the walls, but the space appears clean, tidy, and professional. After about 20 minutes, they call me in. I enter a room where a man around 50 waits for me. He has gray hair, wears glasses, and a simple suit. He gestures kindly for me to sit down. Mrs. Thompson, I'm attorney Morris Ortega. Please tell me what brings you here. I then tell him everything from the beginning, how I sold my house, handed over the $50,000, was promised I would be added to the deed, and how I signed papers without understanding what they contained. I explain how I later discovered I had been betrayed. While I speak, I take out all the documents, photos, and evidence. He listens quietly, taking notes and examining each paper I present. His face remains serious and attentive. He does not interrupt at all. He allows me to express everything I have kept inside. When I finish, there is a pause. He continues to look over the documents, especially the photos of Sarah's messages. He reads them several times. Then he looks at me. Mrs. Thompson, this is fraud, abuse of trust, and possibly document forgery. Your daughter and son-in-law could face serious criminal charges. I only want my money returned or my rights to the house. Whatever is fair, I understand. But I have to be honest with you. This will be difficult. You signed papers waiving your rights. Even if you didn't fully realize it at the time, your signature is there. That makes things more complicated. But I have proof that they deceived me. The messages, the conversations, everything is documented. Yes, and that's good. Very good. This demonstrates an intent to commit fraud, which is helpful. We can pursue a lawsuit for fraud and request to invalidate the documents. However, you must understand that this process could take some time, possibly months or even over a year. My expectations drop slightly. A year. I can endure spending another year in that house, bearing the contempt, the shame, and paying rent for what should be mine. How much will all this cost? My fee is $200 an hour. For a case like this, the total expense would be around $10,000, possibly more, depending on how complex it becomes. $10,000? I don't have that much. I've only managed to save about $5,000. This is the last of a lifetime savings. He seems to notice my expression because he continues. I can help you, Mrs. Thompson. I can start with a $3,000 deposit, and the rest will pay when we win the case and you get your money back. But I want to be clear. If we lose, you will still need to pay my full fees. It's a risk. But what else can I do? Stay silent and lose everything, or stand up and hope to get some of it back? I agree. What do you need me to do? First, I want you to sign a contract with me. After that, we'll get copies of all the documents related to the property from the public registry. We'll ask for certified copies of everything your daughter has submitted, and then we'll prepare a formal lawsuit. How long will that take? About a month to gather all the papers. Once everything is ready, we'll file the case. Your daughter and son-in-law will be notified and will have to respond. That's when things will become clearer. They'll know it was me. They'll know I sued them. Yes. There's no way to avoid it. But, Mrs. Thompson, you have the right to defend yourself and fight for what is yours. Don't let fear hold you back now. He's right. I've come this far. I've uncovered the truth. I have the evidence. I can't turn back now. I sign the contract and write him a check for $3,000, almost everything I have in the bank. He provides me with copies of everything, explains the upcoming steps, and assures me he will keep me updated on every progress. I leave his office feeling strange, scared, but also somewhat relieved. At last, I have done something. I have taken action. I am no longer just a victim waiting for things to get better. Now I am someone who fights back. On the way home, I walk in silence, reflecting on what lies ahead, on how they will react when they receive the lawsuit notice, on what they might say or do. I arrive home before they do. I change my clothes and hide all my documents in a secret spot. Then I begin preparing dinner as if nothing happened, like it's an ordinary day. When they come in, I greet them normally. Sarah hardly looks at me. Daniel doesn't even respond to my hello. We eat in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. And I watch. I notice every detail, the way they show disdain, each moment of humiliation, because all of this gives me strength to keep going. The days ahead are waiting. Attorney Ortega calls me each week to provide updates. He has requested documents from the public registry and is reviewing everything to develop a legal strategy. He asks for patience as I continue to keep detailed records at home. Whenever Sarah treats me unkindly, makes a comment, or dismisses me, I start recording our conversation discreetly on my phone. I am careful not to be noticed. I'm unsure if these recordings will be legally admissible, but I want to have everything saved. One day, I receive a certified envelope in the mail from the public registry. I quickly take it inside before anyone notices. I hide it in my room. That evening, I open it with trembling hands. Inside are copies of all the documents. The house deed only lists Sarah and Daniel's names. The papers I signed, which waived rights I didn't even realize I had, are also there. It's all clear in black and white, proof of my naivete, my foolishness, and how they used me. But there is something else as well. Inconsistencies appear in the documents, dates that don't match, signatures that look different. The lawyer marked several points with sticky notes, which is helpful. This gives us something to work with, possible evidence of forgery. I feel a flicker of hope. Perhaps there is a chance. Maybe I can win this case. 3 more weeks pass, and Attorney Ortega calls me to his office. When I arrive, he has everything prepared on his desk. A well-organized stack of papers, legal documents, and the lawsuit ready to file. Mrs. Thompson, we're ready. I will submit the lawsuit tomorrow. Within 2 or 3 days, your daughter and son-in-law will receive the notice. I want you to be prepared for their reaction. It won't be easy, he says. I nod, acknowledging. I understand. I'm ready. He also takes a moment to warn me. They might try to intimidate you or pressure you to drop the case, even threaten to kick you out of the house. If that happens, call me immediately. We have legal options to protect you. I thank him and leave his office with mixed feelings, fear and resolve. In 2 days, everything is about to change. In 2 days, there will be no turning back. That night, I barely sleep. My mind races with all the possibilities, all the ways things might go wrong. Yet I also focus on justice, on reclaiming my dignity, on showing them they cannot simply steal from me and escape consequence. The attorney files the lawsuit on a Friday. He calls to confirm, "It's finished, Mrs. Thompson." Now we just wait. The weekend feels endless. Each time the doorbell rings, my heart beats faster, but nothing changes. Sarah and Daniel continue their usual routines, unaware of what lies ahead. On Monday morning, the mailman arrives, rings the bell, and I open the door. He bears 2 certified envelopes, one for Sarah Johnson and another for Daniel Reyes, documents about the lawsuit for fraud and invalidation of their papers. I sign for the delivery, take the envelopes, and stare at them for a long moment. This is it, the moment of no return. I could hide them, throw them away, pretend they never arrived, or I could leave them where Sarah will find them and face what's coming. I place them on the dining table where they are clearly visible, hard to overlook. Then I go upstairs to my room to wait and prepare for the storm approaching. Sarah arrives home from work at 6:12 p.m. I hear the door open. I hear her footsteps in the entryway. And then, suddenly, there is silence. That heavy silence that always comes just before an outburst. "Mom, come down right now." Her voice sounds different this time. It's tense, filled with anger. But there's something else, perhaps fear or panic. I get up from my bed, take a deep breath, and go downstairs. She's standing in the living room, holding an open envelope in one hand and lawsuit papers in the other. Her face is flushed, her eyes shining with rage. Daniel stands beside her, clutching his own envelope, looking at me with pure hatred. "What is this? What on earth is this, Mom?" She speaks each word slowly, as if trying to hold herself back, as if she's about to lose control. This is a lawsuit for fraud, accusing her of stealing my money and my rights to this house. Stealing from you. We didn't steal anything from you. You gave us that money. You signed all the papers. Everything was legal. You tricked me. You made me sign things without explaining what they were. You promised this house would be mine too, and you lied. You're crazy. You're completely crazy, old woman. No one forced you to do anything. You wanted to help, and now you've come out with this. I have proof, Sarah. Messages, conversations, everything. Proof that you plan to sell this house and leave me homeless. That you tell your friends I'm a problem. That you're removing me from the deed. Her face changes. The color drains from her face for a moment. She looks at me with something that could be fear, but she quickly hides it behind more anger. You checked my phone. You invaded my private belongings, Mom. That is a violation of privacy and a crime. However, stealing from your own mother isn't considered wrong by you. Deceiving her, forging documents, and taking everything she owns, those things are okay in your eyes. Daniel moves closer, his face stern and intimidating. He stands very near me, trying to use his height to scare me. Listen carefully, Linda. Drop this lawsuit right now, or you'll be out of this house today. Tonight with nothing. See where you'll end up. See who will take you in. I'm not leaving. This house belongs to me too. I've invested my money here and I'll fight to get it back. Your money. That money was a gift, help from us. No one forced you to accept it, but we've been generous. Yet, you're ungrateful after everything we've done for you. And what have you done for me? I'm paying rent in my own home. You won't let me eat the food I buy. You treat me like garbage. That's what you've done for me. Sarah lets out a bitter laugh without humor. You know what, Mom? Do what you want. Sue us. Argue all you like, but I'll warn you of one thing. You won't succeed. We have better lawyers than yours. We have money. We have time. And in the end, when you lose, you'll have nothing left. No house, no money, no dignity. I no longer have dignity. You took that from me. But I will recover everything else. Even if it's the last thing I do. Go to your room. I don't want to see you. You disgust me. Her words sting, but I hide my hurt. I keep my face steady, straighten my back, and walk up the stairs without a backward glance. That night, I hear them call the lawyer Leonard Torres. I catch bits of their conversation through the walls. They're scared, anxious. The lawyer tells them something they don't want to hear. I hear Sarah shout. Daniel curse. I stay awake late, listening and mentally keeping track of everything. This is just the start. I know they'll try something more, something worse, and I must be ready. The following days are filled with tension. Sarah and Daniel hardly speak to me. When they do, it's to insult me, to remind me I am ungrateful, a traitor, a bad mother. Yet, as they attack, I notice something surprising. Sarah continues posting on her social media, photos from fancy restaurants, spas, and clothing stores, smiling, posing, acting as if her life is perfect, buying herself peace to soothe my weary soul. Sometimes you need to step back from negativity to truly shine. One of her recent posts shows her drinking wine at an elegant venue. It has 120 likes, with comments from her friends praising her strength, calling her inspiring and brave. I find it ironic that the negativity she talks about is directed at me, the mother who sacrificed everything for her, now being cast as the villain. Negativity to stay away from, but I keep going. I continue taking screenshots of each post, every comment, every showing off of her luxurious life bought with my money. One afternoon, while they are out, Attorney Ortega calls. Mrs. Thompson, I have some news. Your daughter's lawyer has responded to our lawsuit. They deny all allegations, claiming you gave the money willingly as a gift. They say you signed all the documents knowingly, and that now you regret it and want to get back what you already gave. This was predictable. So, what happens next? We enter the phase of presenting evidence. Both sides will submit what they have, documents, testimonies, and proof. After that, the judge will decide whether there is enough for a trial. How long does that take? Usually 3 or 4 months at a minimum. But, Mrs. Thompson, I need to tell you something important. Your daughter's lawyer has reached out to me. They want to negotiate a settlement outside of court. What kind of settlement? They are offering to return $20,000 in exchange for dropping the lawsuit and signing a document waiving any future rights to the property. That's $20,000 out of the $50,000 I invested. Not even half. Exactly. It's a low offer, almost insulting, but it is something. It would save years of legal battles, stress, and expenses. No, I don't agree. I want what's rightfully mine. My share of the house. I won't settle for less. I understand. I just want you to know there's an offer on the table. But if you choose to proceed, we will. We'll fight all the way to the end. That's my decision to see it through. I hang up feeling confident and resolved. They believe they can buy my silence with a small amount, that they can give a tiny fraction of what they took, and I'll accept it happily. But they're mistaken. That evening at dinner, Sarah casually mentions the settlement. Mom, our lawyer spoke to yours. We offered you $20,000 to settle everything. You should take it. It's the best option for everyone. I refuse. I want what's rightfully mine. Nothing belongs to you, Mom. We've told you before. That money was a gift. But we're being generous, offering something you don't even have a right to. Then why would we make such an offer if we were confident you have no claim? She remains silent. Daniel steps in. We want to put an end to this chaos. It's embarrassing, and you're making yourself look foolish. Take the money and leave. Find a place to live and let us be in peace. But I won't leave, and I won't accept less than I deserve. Sarah slams her fork onto her plate, the loud noise resonating in the silence. You're impossible. You're stubborn and selfish. Your whole life has been like that, only thinking of yourself. You've never cared about anyone else. Her words leave me speechless. How can she say that? How can she twist everything so unfairly? I've sacrificed my entire life, given everything I had, never asking for anything in return. And now I am called selfish for wanting what they took from me. I stay silent. I get up, clear my plate, and go to my room because I know if I stay, I'll say things I might regret, things that could be used against me. The following weeks are just more of the same. They try to pressure me, urge me to drop the lawsuit, threaten to evict me, cut off utilities, and make my life difficult. Meanwhile, Sarah continues posting on social media about her perfect life, about how she's learned to set boundaries, protect her mental well-being, and stay away from toxic people. I have realized I owe nothing to anyone, not even family. My mental health comes first. If that means cutting ties, then so be it. No guilt, no regrets. That post receives 200 likes. Her friends comment on how proud they are of her, how strong she appears, and how mature she seems. I wonder if they know the truth, that the toxic person she refers to is her mother, the woman who gave her life. But I continue pushing forward. I keep collecting evidence, work with my lawyer, and prepare myself for what's to come, because I know this isn't the end. The worst is still ahead, and I'm right. 3 months after filing the lawsuit, the date of the first hearing arrives. Attorney Ortega prepared me for this moment, telling me what to expect, how to behave, and what to say or avoid saying. Still, nothing could truly prepare me for the overwhelming feeling of seeing my own daughter sitting across from me in the courtroom. I arrive early, dressed in my best clothes, a simple suit I bought years ago for Michael's funeral. I comb my hair carefully, wanting to look respectful and dignified, as someone who is speaking the truth. Sarah arrives with Daniel and her lawyer, Leonard Torres. She wears an expensive dress, designer shoes, and perfect makeup. She looks confident and successful, a professional, like a victim of a difficult mother. That's exactly the image she wants to give. She doesn't look at me at all when she enters. She doesn't acknowledge my presence, acting as if I am invisible. That hurts more than any insult. The judge then enters. We all stand as he takes his seat. He is an older man, about 60 years old, with a serious expression and thick glasses. He begins reviewing the case documents, signaling that proceedings are about to start. We are here to address a lawsuit regarding fraud and the invalidation of certain documents. Mrs. Linda Thompson is suing her daughter, Sarah Johnson, and her son-in-law, Daniel Reyes. Attorney Ortega, please present your case. My lawyer is ready. He speaks clearly and firmly, explaining how I sold my house, how I contributed $50,000 for the down payment on a new property, and how they promised to include me on the deed. He details how I was made to sign papers without being properly explained, and how I later found out they intended to sell the house without my knowledge. He provides proof, messages I retrieved from Sarah's phone, documents with inconsistencies, transfer receipts, all well organized and dependable. The judge reviews each piece carefully, takes notes, and asks questions. Attorney Ortega responds confidently and precisely. I begin to feel hopeful. Then it's Attorney Torres's turn. He rises with a confident smile, making calculated gestures, as if he knows he will win. Your Honor, this case is straightforward. Mrs. Linda Thompson chose voluntarily to help her daughter purchase a house. She signed all the necessary papers, fully aware of what she was doing. Now she regrets her decision and wants to take back the property she gifted. This is not fraud. What she is experiencing is buyer's remorse. She presents documents claiming she signed papers supposedly waiving her rights to the property. Her signature is there, unmistakable. But she says she feels dizzy when she sees it because she does not remember signing those papers. Additionally, Your Honor, Mrs. Thompson has lived in the property for 2 years. She has enjoyed the benefits of a $500,000 home without paying any expenses. And now, she has the audacity to sue her own benefactors. Benefactors? I find that word offensive. As if they did her a favor. As if I am a beggar, grateful for the crumbs they give. The judge raises his hand to silence him. Attorney Torres, I have seen text messages where your client clearly states she is removing her mother from the deed by deception. She plans to sell the property without her knowledge. How do you explain that Torres doesn't even flinch? Private conversations, Your Honor, were obtained illegally. Mrs. Thompson violated my client's privacy by checking her phone without permission. Those messages should not be admitted as evidence. They were collected by a concerned mother who suspected fraud. No hacking, no theft involved. She simply checked her own phone at home and found proof of a crime. The judge continues reviewing the documents and asks more questions to both sides. I respond when it's my turn, speaking with a shaky but clear voice. I tell how I trusted my daughter, how they deceived me, and how I finally uncovered the truth. Sarah also speaks through tearful eyes. With a broken voice, she portrays herself as the hurt daughter, the victim of a manipulative mother trying to extort her. My mother has always been like this, Your Honor. Always controlling, always seeking power over my life. We offered her a home, we gave her everything. Now, she is repaying us with this lawsuit and these dreadful accusations. It truly hurts. The pain is so deep that I can't believe my own mother thinks I might steal from her. Her act is flawless. She sobs at just the right moments. Her voice wavers when needed. She looks at the judge with begging eyes, and I notice how he watches her, how his expression softens slightly. In that moment, I realize something. I see that truth doesn't always prevail. Sometimes the person who acts better, who lies more convincingly, or who has a stronger lawyer, is the one who wins. The hearing lasts 3 hours. When it's over, the judge states he needs time to examine all the evidence and promises to deliver his decision in 2 weeks. Both sides are asked to wait patiently for his ruling. We leave the court in silence. Sarah and Daniel drive away in their new car. It's a luxury vehicle worth over $50,000, purchased after I gave them my money. I, on the other hand, get on the bus, as I always do. Attorney Ortega walks me to the stop. How do you think it went? Good, Mrs. Thompson. It went well. We have solid proof. The judge noticed the inconsistencies and saw the messages. I believe we have a real chance, but he's not certain. I can hear it in his voice, and how he avoids looking me directly in the eyes. There's doubt, and that doubt scares me. The next 2 weeks feel like the longest of my life. At home, the atmosphere is unbearable. Sarah avoids speaking to me entirely. Daniel looks at me with pure hatred. I eat alone in my room. I stay mostly hidden, like a ghost in my own house, but I continue documenting everything. I keep gathering evidence just in case I need to appeal or keep fighting. Then, one day, the call comes. Attorney Ortega contacts me early in the morning. Mrs. Thompson. The judge has made his decision. My heart stops. I wait. The seconds seem like hours. We won the first part. The judge found enough evidence of fraud. He has ordered a thorough investigation. And best of all, he ordered that any attempt to sell the property be postponed until the case is fully resolved. I find it hard to believe. I've won something, not everything, but some part of the case. The judge believed me. He saw the truth. What does that really mean? It means your daughter cannot sell the house or take any action with the property without court approval. It also means we are heading to a full trial, where we will fight to cancel the documents and get your money back. It's a small win, but a win nonetheless. For the first time in months, I feel a glimmer of hope. When Sarah receives the notice that afternoon, her reaction is intense. I hear screams from my room, things breaking, curses, Daniel trying to calm her down. She's completely out of control. I head downstairs. I need to see her face. I need to see the moment she realizes she won't get away so easily. She's in the living room. Papers scattered all over, her face red, fists clenched. This is your fault. All of this is your fault. Now we are unable to sell. We cannot do anything with this house because of you. It's my house as well. I invested my money here, and I won't let you sell it without getting back what's mine. I hate you. I hate you so much. I wish you had never moved in. I wish you had stayed in your old house and left us alone. I remained in my home, but you convinced me to sell it. You asked for the money and promised it would be my house too. And you lied. So don't blame me now. Get out. Leave immediately. I don't want you here. I am not going anywhere. The judge has ordered that you cannot interfere with this property, including forcing me out. That means I am staying, and I will remain until everything is settled. I walk up the stairs before she can respond. I go into my room, lock the door, and for the first time in months, I allow myself a smile. I've made a real stand. I've shown I won't give up. I won't let them overpower me. And although much remains ahead and the struggle has only just begun, I have won this battle. For now, that's enough to keep moving forward, to keep fighting, and to hold on to the hope that justice may still be real. I sit on my bed, take out my phone, and send a message to Attorney Ortega. Thank you for believing in me, for fighting for me, and for never giving up. His reply arrives quickly. Don't give up, Mrs. Thompson. We're just getting started, and we will win. I believe him because I have no other choice. I've come too far to turn back now. My dignity, my future, my life, everything depends on this. And I won't let myself fail. Not now. Not after everything I've endured. Not after discovering a strength I didn't know I had. This is my fight, and I intend to win it, no matter what it takes. In the months that follow, there is a quiet struggle. Sarah and Daniel cannot force me out by court order or sell the house. They are just as stuck with me as I am with them, and that drives them crazy. They begin with minor tactics, such as refusing to buy the things I use. My favorite coffee, my preferred brand of bread, they say if I want those items, I must pay for them myself. I do so quietly without complaints, not giving them the pleasure of seeing me upset. They have cut the internet in my room, claiming it's for savings, yet theirs continues to work perfectly. When I need to use a computer, I go to the public library. I adjust and adapt. They changed locks on certain parts of the house, like the basement, garage, or study, almost as if marking territory, telling me I don't belong there. I let them do it because those small battles aren't worth much. The real struggle is still ahead. But while they amuse themselves with these childish games, I keep collecting evidence and documenting everything. Every hostile act, every effort to make my life difficult, every incident is recorded. All of it is useful and important in the end. Attorney Ortega works on the case, submitting additional documents and evidence, and gathering testimonies from neighbors who confirm I live at the property, take care of the house, and have invested money into it. 6 months after the initial hearing, the final trial date arrives. This time, the decision will be definitive. The judge will determine whether the documents I signed are legally valid or if I was a victim of fraud. The ruling will decide whether I get my money back or lose everything. The night before, I find it hard to sleep. I lie staring at the ceiling, contemplating all possible outcomes. What will I do if I win? What if I lose? How did my life come to this point? The day of the trial begins with a gray, cloudy sky, as if the weather itself understands the gravity of the situation. I dress carefully in the same suit I wore at the first hearing. My hands tremble as I fasten the buttons. The courtroom is more crowded this time, more people, more witnesses. The case has attracted attention. It's a story of a mother suing her daughter, a family betrayal that many find strangely intriguing. Sarah arrives with a full team. Her lawyer, Torres, along with 2 assistants, Daniel and his parents, all dressed sharply and confidently, giving off an aura of success, strength, and wealth, trying to make an impression. I arrive alone with Attorney Ortega, but I don't feel small. Not this time, because I believe the truth is on my side, and that's more important than their money. The trial lasts 2 full days, with each side presenting their arguments, witnesses, and evidence. Attorney Torres calls experts to examine my signature, and they confirm it's genuine on all documents, proving I signed knowingly. However, Attorney Ortega brings his own specialists, graphologists, who find minor discrepancies in some signatures, slight differences in pen pressure, small variations in angles, enough to create reasonable doubt. I take the stand and recount my story clearly and calmly, without tears or drama, simply sharing the painful truth. How I trusted my daughter, how they promised to include me in the property, and how I later discovered they had lied. Attorney Torres aggressively cross-examines, trying to portray me as a liar and a manipulative mother chasing after money. He questions why I didn't read the documents before signing, why I trusted so easily, and why I now regret trusting. I only regret trusting the wrong people. A mother shouldn't have to read the fine print when her daughter asks for help. A mother should trust that her own daughter wouldn't steal from her. My response hangs in the courtroom's quiet. I notice some jurors nod slightly, and the judge takes note of my words. Then it's Sarah's turn. She steps onto the stand dressed in an expensive outfit with flawless makeup ready to perform. She begins to cry, saying she loves me, that she never meant to hurt me, and that it was all just a misunderstanding. I simply wanted to help my mother, Your Honor, to give her a home, but she's very controlling and seeks to dominate everything. She signed those papers voluntarily. Now that things aren't going her way, she's punishing us with this lawsuit. Her voice falters at the right moments. Her tears fall when they are supposed to. It is a skilled performance. I notice some people in the room are moved, looking at her with sympathy. But then, Attorney Ortega does something clever. He displays on a large screen the messages Sarah sent. The conversations in which she discusses removing me from the deed, calls me a problem, and mocks how easily she can deceive me. Miss Johnson, can you explain these messages here? It says, literally, my mom is so naive. She signs everything I put in front of her. Those are your words, right? Sarah's expression shifts. Her face loses color. She glances at her lawyer for support. But Torres can only object, claiming the messages were obtained illegally. The judge has already admitted the evidence. It is too late to prevent it. I felt angry. I felt frustrated. I didn't mean it literally, but you wrote it. You thought it. And more importantly, you carried out a plan to cheat your own mother. It wasn't fraud. It was a gift she now wants to take back. A gift you plan to secure using tricks. A gift from which you intend to cut out your mother without her knowing, then sell the property. That, Ms. Johnson, isn't a gift. It's theft. Sarah doesn't know what to say. She stays silent, looking at her lawyer, trying to find the right words, but there are none to explain what she did. The trial goes on. More witnesses, more documents, more arguments from both sides. But I know the decisive moment was when Sarah couldn't explain those messages and was exposed in front of everyone. The judge calls a recess to think things over. 3 hours pass, feeling like 3 years. I sit on a bench outside waiting. Attorney Ortega tries to comfort me, to give me hope, but I'm past hope. I've reached a place of acceptance, ready for whatever happens next. Finally, they call us back. Everyone takes their seats. The judge walks in, looking serious with a face that reveals nothing. I have examined all the evidence from both sides. I listened to the testimonies, I reviewed the documents, and I have come to a decision. The room becomes completely still. No one takes a breath, no one moves. I find there is enough proof of deception that Mrs. Linda Thompson was tricked with false promises into giving her money, that she signed papers without fully understanding what they meant, and that there was a clear intention to deny her rights to the property she helped purchase. My heart starts pounding faster. Attorney Ortega presses my hand gently. So, I pronounce the following. The papers signed by Mrs. Thompson, which waive her rights, are invalid. Mrs. Thompson is entitled to 50% of the property, or alternatively, to a full refund of the $50,000 she invested, plus a simple interest of another $15,000, totaling $65,000. I know I have won. After months of struggle, humiliation, and doubt, I have emerged victorious. Justice, it seems, does exist after all. Furthermore, I order Ms. Sarah Johnson and Mr. Daniel Reyes to cover Mrs. Linda Thompson's legal expenses, and I impose a fine of $10,000 for deliberate deception against a vulnerable family member. Behind me, I hear a muffled cry. It's Sarah, her face drained of color. Daniel is holding her arm. Both appear shattered. They have 30 days to comply with this order, or we will begin seizing their assets. The case is closed. The gavel strikes with a thunderous sound, and with that, it's over. I have won. I have reclaimed my dignity, my money, my life. I leave the courtroom with my head held high. Attorney Ortega greets me with congratulations, offers a hug, and celebrates the victory. Yet I feel strangely hollow because, yes, I have gained money. I have achieved justice. But I have also lost my daughter, and that loss weighs more than all the wealth in the world. The 30 days given for payment pass in unbearable tension. Sarah and Daniel need to borrow money, sell their new car, and deplete their savings to gather the $75,000. $65,000 for me and $10,000 as a fine to the state. I continue living in the house during that time. But now, things are different. Now I hold power. They must treat me with care because the judge made it clear that any hostility could result in additional penalties. We don't speak. We pass in the hallways like ghosts, each in our own world, waiting for this nightmare to end. But for each of us, the nightmare feels different. The day I receive the check is strange. There's no ceremony, no words. Attorney Torres comes in person, hands me the check. $75,000, more than I lost. I accept it with hands that no longer tremble and no longer doubt. Thank you, attorney. He just nods. He looks tired and defeated, as if this battle cost him more than just time and effort. When he leaves, I stare at the check for a long time. This piece of paper signifies my victory and my sense of justice, but it also marks the final end of my relationship with my daughter. From this moment on, There is no turning back, no way to mend what has been broken. That afternoon, I contact a real estate agent and ask her to help me find a small, simple place, a one-bedroom apartment that I can call my own, somewhere no one can take it away from me. Within 2 weeks, I find the perfect apartment, located in an older but well-maintained building. It has a small kitchen, a full bathroom, a living room with a large window that lets in sunlight, and a tiny balcony that can hold 2 pots. The price is $250,000. I pay in cash, no mortgage, no debts, completely mine, registered in my name. I review the deed carefully with my own lawyer before signing. On moving day, I hire 2 men to help me. I don't have much. My clothes, my books, my photographs, a box of important documents, the balcony plants I've nurtured for years, and the ceramic mug Michael gave me. That's all I own. Sarah does not come out of her room when I leave. No farewell, no final hug, no words of reconciliation, just silence. A heavy silence that says more than 1,000 words. Daniel is in the living room when I carry down my last box. He looks at me with an expression that might be regret, or perhaps relief that I'm finally leaving. Linda, I'm sorry for everything. Those are the only words he speaks to me in months. I don't reply. What can I say? That I forgive him. That everything is okay? When nothing is okay? When it never will be again? I simply nod and walk out that door for the last time. My new apartment is small, quiet, empty, but it's mine. I spend the first night sitting on the floor, with no furniture yet, clutching a mug of hot tea, gazing out the window at the city lights, and I cry. I cry for all I have lost, for the daughter I thought I had, for a family that never truly existed, for the years wasted believing empty promises. I cry until the tears run dry, until the pain becomes easier to bear, something I can accept. The following months are for rebuilding. I purchase simple furniture, a bed, a small table, 2 chairs, and a comfortable armchair for reading. Nothing expensive or flashy, just what is needed to live with dignity. I use some remaining money to take a baking class, something I've always wanted to do but never had the time for. I learn to make cakes, cookies, and artisan bread, and discover I have a talent for it. I begin selling my baked goods to neighbors and local shops. The money I earn isn't much, but it's mine, earned through my own effort without relying on anyone or owing favors. One April afternoon, while watering plants on the balcony, my phone rings. It's an unknown number. I hesitate before answering, but something urges me to pick up. It's my mom. Sarah's voice hits me like a punch in the stomach. I haven't spoken to her in 8 months since I left her house. Hello, Sarah. There's silence on the other end, only heavy breathing as if she's searching for the right words. I just wanted you to know Daniel and I are getting a divorce. He blames me for everything, losing the money, the shame, everything. And I am alone, Mom. Everyone has turned away from me. Her voice breaks as she begins to cry. A part of me, the part that is always her mother, wants to comfort her, to say everything will be okay, that I forgive her, that we can start fresh. But another part of me, the part that has been betrayed, stolen from, humiliated, that part stays firm. I'm sorry for what you're going through, Sarah. I truly am. But I can't be your support right now. Not after everything. Still, you're my mom. You're all I have. And you were my daughter. You were everything to me. And you stole from me. You betrayed me. You made me feel worthless. So no, I cannot be what you need at this moment. Maybe someday, but not now. Mom, please take care of yourself, Sarah. I really wish you the best. But I need time. A lot of time. I hang up before she can respond. Before my resolve weakens, I turn off the phone and stand there trembling, tears in my eyes, yet feeling strong because I have set a boundary and chosen my peace over guilt. Weeks go by, fall turns into winter, winter gives way to spring, life continues. I make new friends in the building, women my age, widows, divorcees, women with their own stories of pain and resilience. We share tea, exchange recipes, laugh, and enjoy life together. One April afternoon, while watering the plants on my balcony, I notice something that makes me smile. One of the succulents I brought from Sarah's house has bloomed, a tiny pink, delicate flower. It has endured the transplant and the change, and now it blooms more beautifully than before. I realize I am like that plant. They pulled me from what I thought was my home. They hurt me, almost broke me, but I survived. I adapted. Now I'm blooming again in my own space, in my own soil, at my own pace. That evening, I prepare a simple dinner: vegetable soup, homemade bread, herbal tea. I sit at my small table by the window, eating slowly and enjoying each bite, grateful for this quiet moment. I may not have much, no large house, no perfect family, no long-held dreams, but I have something even better. I have my dignity, I have my peace, I have my freedom. And I take comfort in knowing I didn't stay silent, that I didn't let others push me around, that I fought for what belongs to me. Before going to sleep, I jot down a few lines in my journal, something I began as a way to help myself heal. There, I write the most important truth I've learned from all of this. I didn't succeed because I shouted the loudest. I succeeded because I stood by the truth. I didn't sink to their level. I didn't fill my heart with hate. I simply presented the facts. And that pain, more than any insult, that is my victory. To not become what they were to me. To keep my essence intact while reclaiming my life. I close the journal, switch off the light, and settle into my bed in my apartment, in my home. For the first time in many years, I sleep soundly. No nightmares, no worries, only peace. I did this by closing that door, not out of revenge or anger, but out of love. Self-love. The kind of love I had forgotten I was deserving of. The kind that no daughter, son-in-law, or broken promise can take away. And that is enough. More than enough. It is everything.